the light that guides us through darkness. Hope is more than just a fleeting emotion or an abstract concept. It is a vital psychological and spiritual force that sustains individuals through adversity, inspires change, and fuels innovation and resilience. Philosophers, poets, leaders, and everyday people have long revered hope as essential to the human experience. In the Western world especially, the idea of hope has shaped revolutions, scientific discovery, art, and personal triumphs. From the prison cell to the battlefield, from the political stage to the hospital bed, hope stands as a quiet, powerful force that urges humanity forward. As Emily Dickinson once wrote, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul, and sings the tune without the words, and never stops at all." The nature of hope. Hope is often confused with optimism. While optimism is the belief that things will work out positively, hope is more nuanced. Hope involves believing that positive outcomes are possible and that we have agency, even in uncertainty. It's not passive, it requires effort, courage, and sometimes sacrifice. Psychologists like Charles Snyder have studied hope extensively, defining it as a combination of goals, pathways, strategies to reach those goals, and agency, the motivation to use those strategies. Hope does not require certainty, it thrives in ambiguity. It becomes strongest not when outcomes are guaranteed, but when individuals choose to believe and act in spite of fear, doubt, or suffering. Hope in history. Western icons who embodied hope. Throughout history, some of the most influential figures in the Western world have relied on hope not only to endure hardship but to inspire others toward justice, peace, and progress. 1. Martin Luther King Jr. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Though often associated with the American civil rights movement, drive, Martin Luther King Jr.'s impact stretched far beyond U.S. borders. His vision of racial equality, justice, and nonviolence was rooted deeply in hope. Despite bombings, arrests, and threats to his life, King held onto the belief that peaceful change was possible. His iconic, "I Have a Dream" speech is essentially a declaration of hope, that the sons of former slaves and slave owners could one day sit together in unity. King's unwavering faith in the moral arc of the universe, bending toward justice, continues to resonate today. 2. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. When FDR assumed the U.S. presidency during the Great Depression, the nation was paralyzed by economic collapse. Unemployment was rampant, banks were failing, and despair was widespread. Roosevelt's inaugural speech offered a spark of hope to a nation in turmoil. With the New Deal, FDR demonstrated how hopeful leadership, combined with bold action, can create tangible solutions. His fireside chats humanized his presidency and reassured millions of Americans that they were not alone. Roosevelt understood that fear erodes hope, and his strength helped rebuild a nation. 3. Anne Frank, where there's hope, there's life. It fills us with fresh courage and makes us strong again. A Jewish girl hiding in an Amsterdam attic during the Nazi occupation, Anne Frank's diary became one of the most powerful accounts of hope amid horror. Despite living in constant fear, deprived of freedom, and ultimately losing her life in a concentration camp, Anne's writings reflect an incredible resilience. Her belief in the goodness of people and her dreams for the future, even when surrounded by war and death, are a testament to the human capacity for hope. Her story continues to inspire generations to value life, freedom, and compassion. 4. Barack Obama. Hope is that thing inside us that insists, despite all evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us. Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign was famously centered around the word, hope. As the first African American president of the United States, his election was a symbol of possibility and progress. He often emphasized that hope is not blind faith, but rather a conscious decision to believe in better outcomes and to work toward them. In his speeches, Obama quoted historical figures and everyday citizens, linking individual hope to national purpose. He reminded Americans that hope is not naive, it is necessary. 5. Helen Keller, although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. Blinded and deafened by illness at a young age, Helen Keller overcame extraordinary obstacles to become a writer, speaker, and activist. Her life embodied hope not only in personal growth but in social activism. Keller advocated for people with disabilities, women's rights, and labor rights. Her story demonstrates that hope is not reserved for the fortunate, it can be a tool of transformation for those facing some of the most difficult challenges. Hope in literature and art. Hope has been a recurring theme in Western literature and art. From Homer's Odyssey to Shakespeare's tragedies and the works of Victor Hugo and Charles Dickens, hope is often portrayed as a redemptive force that drives characters to persevere, grow, and find meaning. In Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, Jean Valjean rises from a life of crime and imprisonment to one of moral integrity. Hugo writes, "Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise." This poetic depiction of hope reminds readers that pain is not permanent, and that people can change. In modern times, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings series is another masterful tribute to hope. Characters like Frodo and Sam embody the belief that even the smallest individuals can make a difference. Sam's iconic line, "There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for," captures the essence of hope in the face of overwhelming darkness. Hope in science and innovation. Western progress in science and innovation has often been fueled by hope. Hope for curing disease, understanding the universe, and improving human life. Marie Curie. Though originally from Poland, Curie's scientific contributions were deeply tied to the French academic world. Working under dangerous conditions, she discovered radium and polonium, and her research on radioactivity revolutionized medical treatment. Her tireless work, often in poverty and grief, reflects a powerful scientific hope, the belief that knowledge can heal and enlighten. NASA and space exploration. The space race of the 1960s, culminating in the moon landing in 1969, was built on the hope of pushing human boundaries. President John F. Kennedy's challenge to go to the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard, was a call to collective ambition. The hope of exploring the unknown led to technological advances that changed the world. Hope in medicine and mental health. Hope plays a critical role in healing. Patients who maintain hope tend to recover better, cope with chronic illness more effectively, and engage more actively in treatment. The field of positive psychology, pioneered by Martin Seligman, emphasizes hope as a key factor in well-being. Therapists often help patients develop hope as a tool to combat depression, trauma, and anxiety. Research shows that hopeful thinking can even boost immune function and improve physical health. Dr. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." His experience in Nazi concentration camps revealed that hope, anchored in meaning, could sustain people through unimaginable suffering. Famous quotes on hope from Western thinkers. Here are some of the most profound reflections on hope from Western thinkers. Winston Churchill, "The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty." Aristotle, "Hope is a waking dream." Stephen Hawking, "However difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. It matters that you don't just give up." Jane Goodall, "I believe in the power of hope. I see it in the young people I meet, who are changing the world every day." Thomas Jefferson, "I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past." Each quote reflects a different dimension of hope, from intellectual pursuit to moral courage to youthful optimism. Modern hope movements. Hope is not confined to individuals, it moves through communities and generations. Climate activism. Figures like Greta Thunberg, though European, her work is widely embraced in the West, represent a new generation of hopeful activism. While driven by concern, the climate movement is ultimately about preserving a livable future, an act of deep hope. LGBTQ+ rights. The rapid progress in LGBTQ+ acceptance and rights across the Western world in recent decades shows how hope can fuel social justice. Activists, artists, and leaders like Harvey Milk believed in a future of equality and inclusion. Conclusion: choosing hope. Hope is not always easy. It requires courage, patience, and persistence. But it is a choice we can make, a conscious act of defiance against despair. Western history offers countless examples of how hope has changed lives, shaped societies, and pushed humanity forward. Whether through the defiance of Martin Luther King Jr., the resilience of Anne Frank, the innovation of Marie Curie, or the quiet strength of everyday people, hope proves itself again and again to be one of the most powerful forces in the human spirit. As Barack Obama once said, "The road ahead will be long. Our climb will be steep. But America, I have never been more hopeful than I am tonight that we will get there." Let us carry that same hope, in ourselves, in our communities, and in our future.